A pack of stray dogs savagely kill a woman in the Los Angeles area. A terrifying story that lines up with research I've done for Dark Outdoors. But before we go into that, make sure and subscribe to this channel to get up-to-date content on Dark Outdoors, which is true crime and terrifying encounters of all kinds. Lots of other wildlife content and work from my Gulf Great White Shark Society right here on Chestermore Wildlife Journalist and Investigator channel. A terrifying and truly sad story. Teodora Mendoza, 51, a woman living, some say homeless in the area around Los Angeles, was killed and savagely killed by a pack of what are called stray dogs in this particular park. Another woman was also attacked and got messed up pretty bad. Police came into the scene and two dogs, one of them a pit bull, ran out and charged, and the cop had to shoot at the dog and defend themselves. After animal control went into the air, they removed 14 dogs from the park. The number one most downloaded podcast on Dark Outdoors, by the way, you can download Dark Outdoors on all major podcast platforms, from Spotify to Apple to iHeartRadio and Audible, everything in between. And the number one most downloaded show that resonated with people the most was about feral dog attacks. After people, I believe that the number one danger in the wild to people in America are feral or stray dogs, especially ones that pack up. And there's sort of a delineation here between feral and stray. The word feral dog isn't used much in America, but I use it a lot because I've actually encountered dogs that were feral. So, like, you think of a feral hog being a hog that got loose and went back out to the wild and got its wild tendencies back. Of course, most feral hogs are just kind of wild hogs these days in America, but you know the concept. A feral dog's the same way. You got feral cats all over America. That term's used, but with dogs, it's usually stray dogs. And these dogs, there's been some research, according to a story in the New York Post, that believe a lot of the homeless in the area kept stray dogs. They were kind of loosely fed and taken care of by them around the area, and it could have been some of those dogs. But when dogs pack up and dogs go together and they encounter people, they don't have fear of people, and they can be extremely dangerous. Now, I know people are already mad because the report had the word pit bull in there. And let's just look at a fact, okay? Any breed, any large breed, I mean, I don't think a pack of Yorkies would be too dangerous out there. Any larger breed of dog can hurt you and kill you and things like that. But what would you rather run into in the wild? Fifi the poodle gone feral or a pit bull? Give me Fifi. I'm not attacking a breed. I'm just talking about what was stated in the story. And it doesn't mention what all the other breeds were. It doesn't matter. Any larger dog breed that gets together and packs up, especially, can be highly dangerous in the wild. I have had my own encounters with feral dogs. Me and a friend of mine about 20 years ago ran into a pack of feral dogs that looked a lot like a lot of the like blackmouth cur type dogs and some other mixed breeds in there with them. There was probably 7 or 8 dogs. And we barely made it over this ravine into where our truck was parked on this property before they got really close. And once we were in the vehicle and shut the door, it startled them. They just kind of stood out and looked at us. But they were coming after us without any kind of question. My good friend Jerry Mills was on an episode of Dark Outdoors I told you about with the feral dog attacks. Had to shoot his way out of some feral dogs. And I've had a other couple of run-ins, and one of them was with a feral pit bull. I had a particular hunting lease that I was on that unfortunately people would just dump dogs on this old road, and some people would dump their old catch dogs for hog hunting that weren't good catch dogs or whatever. People would just get tired of a dog and they dump it, and I hate that. People need to find a good home for them, or put them in a non-kill shelter or something like that. I'm going out the gate and I look and I see this dog across the road from me, pretty decent distance, kind of catty corner. And as I pull the four-wheeler out the gate and I go to shut the gate back, it just comes snarling right out the bushes in front of me. I lift up, bam, bam, and I had a handgun. It hit right kind of in front of it. Didn't hit the dog. It just stood there and looked at me and then it walked back slowly in the bushes, and I realized that, it had jammed and I didn't have a good functioning self-defense tool there. So I had to go back a long way, go back out the other direction to where my vehicle was. And it was a scary situation. I called the lease manager, and someone else had the same kind of dog, maybe the exact same dog, chased them in both seasons up a tree stand and lay under the tree for hours trying to get at them. So dogs can go completely crazy when they're out there in the wild. And I'm telling you, that's one of the things we have to raise awareness to. And another thing, we should be making sure people aren't releasing their dogs, putting their dogs out in the wild. There's a piece of public outdoors land near where I live that I like to go fly fishing for bass in. It's got a really cool slough, and there's a lot of caught some 3 pound bass on the fly in there. And I always have a sidearm just to make sure that, mainly for people, but, I'm the dark outdoors guy. I know anything could happen. And last year, as I went down in there, there were three dogs together. There was a Rottweiler, a pit bull. No, it was four. It was a Rottweiler, a pit bull, a German Shepherd, and a Lab. And one day I saw the four, then I saw the threes, what it was. 2 different days in a row, I saw them on the road going in down in this swamp, and it's pretty remote down in there. And I stopped the second day and took a look, and I was just kind of trying to call over. They were pretty good ways away, but I've been around stray dogs. I could call to my truck and maybe give them a little bit of food or something. These guys were aloof, and they had been out for a while. They were really dirty from being out in the swamp and all that. So think about some kid out there in the wild coming across those guys. One of them, much less four. And this was a situation with a bunch of dogs, at least 14 dogs in this one park were caught. So definitely be very, very careful around feral dogs and around stray dogs and all that, because they're a super danger. I am a dog lover. I absolutely love dogs. I have two big dogs. I have a bull mastiff and a Doberman right here. They're good guard dogs for the house. They won't let nobody in, but I'm able to bring them out around people and they're fine. But I wouldn't want them getting loose. So make sure, and if you have a dog, just for the dog's sake, keep it in a fence, much less other people's sake. And situations like this are very, very intense. And there was a story of a man who was attacked by dogs in Georgia that made Outdoor Life last year, and he was nearly killed, had hundreds and hundreds of stitches. I know a guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but trying to get him on the show. He was attacked by two dogs in Arkansas last year, very intense situation. This is going on a lot more than people think, but the media doesn't typically link it to the wild. It's like a stray dog, but it's usually in a suburban park, a hiking trail. And the link, in my opinion, is it's areas people dump dogs off because they think, oh, somebody will find them and give them a home. And they don't. And a lot of times they pack up and they become extremely dangerous. If I'm out in the woods and I'm up in Yellowstone hiking and I look up and there's an entire pack of gray wolves 20 yards in front of me staring me in the bushes, although wolves are not known to attack a whole lot, I'd be nervous. I'd be like, hold on a second, there's an apex predator right there. But I would be much more frightened if I were out there and it was a pack of feral dogs, because the chances of them actually attacking and hurting someone are way, way higher. So, one of the things to do, if you happen to notice large dogs running around an area without owners, stuff like that, avoid hiking, camping, sending your kids out in that area. And I believe in being able to protect yourself, whatever's legal in your jurisdiction, but something that you ought to be able to carry pretty much anywhere is bear spray. And bear spray can help you with dogs. I don't know anyone that's tested on it, but it's definitely will do a number on canines. So something to think about. Plus, some thug comes up trying to mug you, it'll work on them too. So anyway, if you ever had a bad encounter with feral dogs, let us know in the comments. It gets pretty intense out there, and you never know what you might run into a giant pack of released feral poodles. Who knows? But that could be kind of scary, especially seeing the old Eric Bana Hulk with the giant Hulk poodle. Anyway, I digress. It's kind of where my mind goes sometimes. Please subscribe to the channel. Find me at The Chester Moore on Instagram and Gulf Great White Shark Society on Instagram.